It's time for the main event. It's the Shoe Shine.
¿Qué onda, vatos locos? Damas y caballeros, it's your boy Dave in the 702 coming at you for a special Monday night football edition of the Shoe Shine. Big week ahead. Shout out to all the Niner gang. Shout out to Drew Evo for joining me on Monday Night Football. Drew and I were just talking about the Eagles on, they're going to be on Monday Night Football next Monday. So we'll see how the Shoe Shine pans out next Monday. But shout out to you, Drew, and congratulations to the Eagles on a big win in Brazil. What a game. That shit was a nail biter to the very end, Drew. I appreciate that. That was a very good game. Your thoughts on Jordan Love getting hurt? I mean, like, who cares, right? Who cares about Jordan Love?
That's unfortunate for the Packers because they were one of the favorites in the NFC this year.
Yeah, that's definitely going to set him back at least 4 games. And I was watching that game and watching the turf, and wow. Yeah, I feel kind of bad for those players playing on that Brazilian soccer field, man. But nonetheless, the 49ers look like they're comfortably in the lead, so I decided we'd go ahead with our normal scheduled time, 29-13. So shout out to my Niner gang and everybody in Santa Clara, California. It's been a hell of a summer for me, Drew, now that I moved to Vegas. So I can just imagine how nice and cool it is in California. I can't wait for cooler weather. Tomorrow, it's going to be 105 in Las Vegas. California's been under a heat wave, Drew, but I think the Shoe Shine's going to go to the MGM Grand for the grand arrivals tomorrow at 2:30, I think. So keep it posted, guys. Make sure you guys post. Make sure you hit the notifications because I think I'm going to go live from the MGM Grand Casino for the grand arrivals. Shout out to Wiley Coyote, first person up in the chat. Appreciate you. Big fight week, Drew. Big fight week. But there's a lot to talk about in the sport of boxing. A lot of people were salty over the $89 pay-per-view that Canelo was going to force on the Mexican boxing fans. You got the UFC can't sell their tickets, and all of a sudden Dana White is kissing ass to all the raza, to all the Latinos and the Mexican people, talking about it's going to be a celebration of Mexico. Drew, did you know that Sean Strickland, one of his biggest stars, basically told all Mexicans to fuck off and stop, raising their flag and dude, you got to see this comment. Let me just go ahead and start the show with this because Dana White is on an ass kissing tour to all the Mexicans. He's even going to start UFC Noche 2 hours later than the Canelo card, which is a big deal. It's a big deal. He's going to start it 2 hours later. Let me get this Sean Strickland quote because I'm surprised he said what he said a little bit. Sean Strickland says, "I'm so sick of seeing foreign flags in America. I don't get it. You left your corrupt country to come to the U.S. and you still rep what you fled. The worst is Hispanics born in America flying a Mexican flag. Where is your loyalty? Just go back. Enjoy your foreign flag." Sean Strickland gets the biggest piece of shit award this week from me. He just doesn't understand it. But at least his boss, Dana White, gets it, Drew. I think Dana White gets it. Apparently, it's going to be an ode to the great Mexican combat artists. And he's even going to start the event 2 hours later. So you will not see Canelo Alvarez on the couch. Greetings, everybody joining us. Appreciate you guys. The good people in here, at least. Shout out to Jason Moreno. Thanks for joining us in the chat. Drew, what's going on this Saturday in Las Vegas, man? What are your thoughts? Are you going to be watching the UFC? Or are you going to be watching the Canelo Alvarez fight at $89.99?
Or you just go on and Fire Sticks that shit, or go on the website and stream East that shit. And tell them to go fuck themselves. I'll watch it for free.
Yeah, definitely. There's going to be a lot of people that will be essentially fire sticking the event. And I'm not going to cast shame on anybody, because what's going on in boxing is the sport is being turned on its head, with Turki Al-Sheikh now announcing that he's going to throw one of the biggest pay-per-views. I'm talking about Anthony Joshua versus Dubois in Wembley Stadium, 80,000 people. He's going to be offering that for just $19.99. I remember I was saying that's what I would pay on Twitter, on X. I said, shit, I'd pay $19.99. Like, I know, I thought that sounded kind of like I was undercutting it, but he agreed with me. I mean, he agreed with the fans. $20 is a low bar of entry. Remember, guys, Drew and I are on separate. He's on the East Coast. So if you see him yawn, hey, I appreciate Drew. It's really late on the East Coast. So, Drew, your thoughts on this $89.99 pay-per-view? We're going to go through the entire card, who's on it, whatnot, and I'm going to go through the DraftKings odds, because a couple of Philadelphia fighters, man, you should be, I wonder if you're still excited. Danny Garcia from Philadelphia going for a middleweight championship against the old Lara, Erislandy Lara. That's the co-main. Stephen Fulton is back after losing his title to Inoue. Will he get a second shot at redemption? Will he have, I mean, he's on the card too. What do you think about those two Philly fighters?
Fulton, this is like getting back into the groove and everything. And I don't know, Danny's got a legit shot of winning a title in another division. So both both been inactive. Danny and Law's both been inactive, and Law's over 40. Danny's like 36, 37.
Yeah, at 40 years old, Erislandy Lara, the middleweight champion, just reminds me of 40-year-old Sergio Maravilla Martinez, who was a great mover until his legs were shot, and he had that horrible knee injury. I don't know what we're going to see out of Erislandy Lara. He hasn't had surgery on his knees. He hasn't taken that much punishment. He also gave Canelo Alvarez one of the best fights historically in the history of Canelo Alvarez's career. I don't know, man. At this point in their career, we're going to look at the odds, man. Can Danny Garcia become the middleweight champion? That would be some crazy shit. Shout out to Ravishing Rick Free. He's new in the chat. Appreciate you being here. He says Bivol is the best active boxer in the world. And, we're talking about pay-per-views, Drew, and I can't believe it, man. This fight, the unification, Beterbiev, this comes on my birthday weekend, man. What a treat. This shit is going to be free on ESPN Plus, Bob Arum, or ESPN, regular ESPN. Everybody could watch this free. But the main event, or the co-main, Shakur Stevenson, you got to pay for that one? Who the fuck is going to pay for Shakur Stevenson? Pardon my French, guys. That's what it is. He's on the card, but you got to pay for that one. Who in their... I think Gervonta Tank Davis said today on social media, he said, the only person buying that is his mama. How did he become, Shakur Stevenson, a pay-per-view star now, and the two baddest light heavyweights in the world are going to be free? Don't make no sense.
I don't know. Like, I think that after the Terence Crawford card didn't really go good at all. It did like 75,000 to 100,000 pay-per-view buys. I guess he looked at he went back and told his people, yo, let me know what I can do to make this better. That I can probably make more money, I can get more buys off this. And they simply told him the price was too high, and they clearly did not look at their clientele and everything of the pay rate that their clientele makes and everything. So what he said, hey, I'm here to say boxing. I'm gonna drop the pay-per-view prices always down to $20 a month, or $20 an event. And tell you the truth, it's not a bad move. It's actually a smart move.
Mm-hmm.
But because the thing about it is, you can make a lot more money that way. And I can't see how a lot of people are still won't buy pay-per-views at $20 event now instead of spending like 90 and everything. So I don't know. It's we're gonna see how it works and everything. But now we see that hey, somebody is seeing what's going on with the boxing fan and everything, and he's trying to do right by the boxing fan. Now, now this thing, 89.99 Canelo and everything. Can Canelo by now does not care if people like it or not. Like, if there's somebody out there that be dumb enough to pay him that much money and to put a pay-per-view up for that much money, he's going to do it. And because PBC's dumb enough to do it. So.
Yeah, speaking of Oscar De La Hoya, I see Wally Coyote says Dana White got a job like Oscar, a jab like Oscar. They've been going it back and forth, Drew. It started on Clapback Thursday last week. Obviously, Oscar's been doing that Clapback Thursday on social media. He said, quote, "So we're a week away from the boxing match that nobody asked for and the UFC event that everyone will be watching. Canelo is fighting Berlanga. Another snooze fest. It's just robbery at this point to pay for another lame Canelo fight that always goes the distance against a subpar opponent." He took it even further on social media and said that he will be at the UFC event and that he thinks that Canelo Alvarez is barely going to crack 100,000 pay-per-views this week. Drew, I think it's hilarious that Dana White says, well, I don't know where he got fucking tickets because I ain't giving him any. Maybe he's coming with Turkey al-Sheikh.
I don't know. It's crazy. Like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. There's a lot of hate with Oscar. So we'll see how this goes.
And listen, if Oscar's got to buy his own tickets, yeah, I'm shocked, man. From $3,000 to $513, I feel bad for anybody that actually paid for these tickets at face value. This is what the resale market is going for. It appears that it's going to be a spectacular multimedia event, but as far as it being a great UFC card, I don't watch the UFC that often anymore. But for a themed, Mexican Independence Day card, I don't. Where's that guy Brandon? Or I mean, where are the Latinos on the card? It just kind of falls on deaf ears. But $513 will get you into the building at the Sphere in Las Vegas this weekend, and roughly that's just a little bit more than what Canelo Alvarez secondary tickets are going for at the T-Mobile. They're going for about $400 for nosebleeds. Maybe they'll drop $300 towards the end of the week. That would be nice. Maybe I'll end up going at the last minute. Got a lot of friends coming into town, guys. They're all telling me that events like Circa, if you're big in Vegas, Circa's throwing a rooftop party at the pool, and that's only $65 per person. And I guess you get to watch both fights on their big TVs. So that's actually a decent value. Remy, what up? Shout out to Remy. Yeah. Let me just go through some of the chat. Wiley Coyote says the Sphere will play the fights on the outside. Imagine that. That would be awesome. That would be amazing for the fans. But, Dana White is not too thrilled that Oscar De La Hoya is kind of piggybacking on his event and that he says he'll be there. And it most likely appears he's going to show up with Turkey al-Sheikh. So, anyways, some quick news while Drew stepped away. Ryan Garcia can't keep away from the limelight. He still has about 9 months left on his suspension, and he's been going at it with everybody. He's been trying to pitch himself a fight against Rayo Valenzuela, the former 135-pound fighter who just beat Pitbull Cruz. They went at it on social media, on Instagram Live, and he's trying to get a fight against Rayo. Of course he does. He's always looking for what he thinks is the easiest pathway to a title. He couldn't make 140 against Devin Haney. He came in 3 pounds overweight. Had he come in on weight, he would have been the world champion at 140. Now he's targeting Rayo, and he's asking him for a catch weight again of 143. Beat me at my catch weight. I'm the king of catch weights. Rayo, I got advice for you, dog. I'm serious. Chase the fight with Tank Davis. It looks like it's very plausible. Tank Davis is the biggest star next to Canelo Alvarez in American boxing. Skip Ryan. Dude, this guy is a waste of your effing time. He'll probably come in at welterweight if he even comes in. Also in the news, Ryan Garcia talking shit about Crawford against Terrence Bud Crawford, saying Terrence Bud Crawford hasn't fought anybody in his career, that he has barely any notable wins in his career, and that he can come see him. So Ryan Garcia just basically is looking for attention. I would love to see Terrence Bud Crawford whoop his ass. That would be great to see him whoop his ass. Shout out to Big Spooky in the room. I appreciate you. He says, what's up, Niners? Drew stepped away. Boxing Magic Mech side, appreciate you. He says Tank also wants a catch weight fight like he did with Ryan. So I'm interested. I haven't been following it too closely. I know that fight is it has a lot of potential to be made. But with Tank, like he did with Ryan Garcia, you're right. He had a catch weight of 136. He gave him an extra pound, but the rehydration clause was a big deal. So wherever this fight lands, if it's at a catch weight, if it's at 135, it's probably going to be to the disadvantage of Rayo. He might even ask Rayo, the actual 140-pound champion, to have a rehydration clause and say, hey, I'll fight you at 140, but you can't come in more than 150. That would be a shame. I would love to see Tank, like he did with Mario Barrios, just fight him. Hopefully there was no rehydration clause in that one. Just fight him. Just fight him like you would. It's a championship fight. You got a damn good chance at 140 to beat Rayo, and Rayo has a good chance of upsetting you as well. That's why I say it's a great fight. Make that fight. Don't waste your time with Ryan Garcia, man. That guy backs out of fights. He comes in overweight. He's got busted on PEDs. It's just a waste of time. All right. I don't know what happened to Drew, guys, but while we're talking about the 49ers, I see some people in here. Spooky saying shout out to the Niners. They're leading 32-13. Northern California is going to be featured heavy this week in the sport of boxing. Shout out to all my people from Northern California. Stockton, Sacramento will be heavily in the boxing world starting this Wednesday night on Pro Box on Wednesday. You got Lester Martinez, one of the hottest prospects at super middleweight that is a developing star, potential star. He's Guatemalan. He's surprising the shit out of everybody. And speaking of Terrence Bud Crawford, he trains with Terrence Bud Crawford in the BOMAC camp. He's like, as far as I can tell, he's the only Latino in the BOMAC camp. And he will be headlining on Wednesday, Drew, Pro Box. Joe Sean James out of Sacramento, who's been on a tear, dude. I've been watching Joe Sean James. He's been on Thompson Boxing. He's promoter-less, Drew, and he's taking on a huge test in this Lester Martinez. Like I was just saying, man, this guy trains with Bomac and Terrence Crawford. This is really going to separate one of these guys, man. If Joe Sean can pull off an upset on Lester Martinez and shut his party up real quick, Joe Sean is going to get signed. So shout out to Sacramento. Shout out to Stockton. Who else is on the card? Hernandez. Vladimir Hernandez, who's fought everybody at 154, including Jesus Ramos Jr. He had a huge knockout upset. He's fought everybody. He's got 5 losses. He's out of Stockton, California. He will be on the co-main event this Wednesday night on Pro Box. Speaking of Stockton, Drew, let's get to the card. Let's get to the Canelo undercard, because people are wondering, is it even worth paying for? What about this Canelo undercard? Stockton, California. Rolly Romero will be fighting a kid out of Stockton, California with just 1 loss. James is his last name, and he's from the 209, Drew, and he's born and raised in San Jose, California, now makes his home in Stockton, California, and I've been watching tape on him, guys. Remy, yeah, exactly, man. Manuel James, I think, is going to knock out Rolly Romero, man. I think it's a huge upset. Let's start with that one right there. According to DraftKings.com, Rolly Romero is the favorite to beat James, as I was saying. Manuel James, he is a plus 190 underdog. Manuel James, that is the play you guys want to make, guys. They got Rolando Romero at negative 240. Manuel James, to me, is the upset on this weekend with the Rolly's chin, dog. I can't say he's going to beat him, James. You haven't watched the tape on James. This guy can crack.
I'll probably bet the KO.
Go watch the tape, guys. Yeah, Wally Coyote Stockton, they don't box, they slap. Yeah, this kid can slap. He can crack. I'm looking forward to him. I'm looking forward to this Vladimir Hernandez fight on Pro Box this weekend too. But let's take a look at this undercard. Let me get up the graphic up here real quick. All right. By the way, guys, this is the 14th year Canelo Alvarez will be headlining. He first appeared on Cinco de Mayo weekend in 2010 against Jose Cotto, the brother of what's his
Miguel
name?
Cotto.
Miguel Cotto. And that's the only time in his history that it looked like he was ever going to get knocked out was by his brother, Jose Cotto. That's the only time that I can think of that Canelo Alvarez has ever been hurt. And this week, Drew, they've been putting a lot of attention on his training of his neck, man. What do you think of some of the Canelo's exercises on his neck, man? Because he's really never been hurt.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, if you look at this fight, man, it's a complete mismatch and everything. So, like, this is gonna be like one of those things that, hey, this is only gonna last 5 rounds. It really is. This is a complete mismatch. And then the undercard, like, tell you the truth, man, this isn't worth $90. Nowhere near it. Like, the main event is a complete mismatch. You got two guys that have been inactive for a very long time, fighting for a middleweight title, and one of them hasn't fought at middleweight. The other one has. And you got somebody that's been knocked out twice that really isn't that good of a fighter to begin with. And you just got Stephen Fulton fighting somebody we don't know, who don't give a fuck about.
Yeah, his name's Carlos Castro, and Stephen Fulton is a negative 800 favorite. You have to bet $800 to win $100 against Carlos Castro. That is on the undercard. Most of these, I think the first 3 are going to probably be not televised. Roymon Villa from Venezuela is a fighter that, obviously he fought your guy, Boots Ennis. He had the balls to fight Boots Ennis, man. He didn't act like Brian Norman Jr., who's been in the news for turning down $1.7 million. I'm telling you, Roymon Villa did not get paid $1.7 million. He's on the card there, a Venezuelan fighter, welterweight. The guy can fight, man. He can fight, so shout out to him. But Stephen Fulton looks like he'll be the first person on the pay-per-view, Drew. And like you said, even though Carlos Castro has a record of 30-2, it looks like he's nowhere near has ever faced somebody as good as Stephen Fulton. You think it's time for Stephen Fulton? He's taking this fight against a lesser-known person just to rebuild his career, or what?
It's time to do something, because after this injury loss, he's been inactive. He hasn't, this is the first fight since that loss. That was over a year ago.
Yeah, and he did go to Japan. All credit to Stephen Fulton for going over there to fight Inoue in Japan. A lot of people wondering how many other fighters are willing to go over to Japan. We saw Luis Nieri do it. Will Bam Rodriguez do it someday?
I don't know. Only time will tell.
I appreciate all 10 of you that are in the chat right now. We got 26 likes. Maybe we can get up to 30. Let everybody know the shoe shine is on. Drew, I'm debating whether or not even to continue doing vertical, because it seems like the push on vertical, it looks like we had more people doing it horizontal in here. Like, what's the point, right? Even our graphics and the video production, it's all fucked up, man. I'm starting to think the hell with this vertical shit. You feel me? Here we got Rolando Romero versus Manuel James. We talked about this one just a moment ago out of Stockton, California. This is his first big fight for Manuel James on a big stage, and it comes against Rolando Romero, the former champion at 140, who had the belt title for one fight? He's actually the underdog, and like I said, DraftKings right now has him as a plus 190. Take that. Or if they have a better option on the KO, take that one too. Go ahead, Drew.
No, I would pick the KO.
Yeah. This next fight is really, really interesting because Trevor McCumbee is another guy, speaking of Pro Box, who has been he's one of these guys. A lot of guys have been showing up on Pro Box and winning big fights in the main event. McCumbee is a guy who had an incredibly good amateur career, national titles type stuff. He got signed and he was with Top Rank over 10 years ago. He was signed as one of the prospect, a development deal. And then he just disappeared and took a huge layoff. And amongst that layoff was a PED, busted for PEDs. I think he's taking at least 2 years off of his career, still unblemished, a very, very strong fighter, actually kind of skillful, but he's never faced anybody on Caleb Plant's level. Now after Pro Box, he's getting the opportunity of a lifetime to be the third, he's going to be the third fight on the pay-per-view right below the co-main. Does this guy have any chance of upsetting someone like Caleb Plant, the former super middleweight champion?
He could, but it doesn't look promising. He looks like that. He could be KO'd and everything. But this is like the unknown fighter. This is like an unknown guy heading in here. We don't know what's going to happen, but we expect Caleb Plant to win this fight. But it's too much of an unknown right now.
Yeah, Caleb Plant is the negative 1,800 favorite. That is really, really wide. That's even wider than Raleigh Romero. And I'm trying to wonder why they think Trevor McCumbee really doesn't have a chance. Guys, Trevor McCumbee is slick. He could take a shot, but he doesn't have the experience of guys as slick as Caleb Plant. They're both country boys. They're both country boys.
This. If you got an extra $10 in your pocket, take the plus 1,800.
It's going to be plus 850. So you'd win $100 on Trevor McCumbee upsetting Caleb Plant. But what aside from when Caleb Plant showed tremendous heart in the Canelo fight recently, what has he done recently?
Knocked out Anthony Duell cold. Gave David Benavidez a good fight.
Yeah.
About it.
Yeah, I mean, those two losses right there are amongst the best in division. He is a former world champion. I'm starting to get swayed as to why people think he's going to win. I just don't think it's going to be easy enough. Shout out to the Niner gang, 32-19. And he's
bitch slapped Jamal Charlo.
Yeah. Oh, they've had their share, including Berlanga, man. I think once everything is all said and done, I think Berlanga is going to fit into the division amongst the people who have lost against Canelo really well, because obviously there's bad blood between Berlanga and Caleb Plant, and that's going to make for a great fight, because obviously now they're going to be guys that they're going to be on an even playing field. We fought Canelo, we came up short. Potentially they both got knocked out. Then you got Jaime Munguia fighting very, very soon, another guy who's lost to Canelo. All of these guys looking to take over the throne or maybe pick up that vacant IBF title one day, the one that's going to be available from William Skull. So, what do you think, man? Caleb Plant by knockout?
I'll pick Plant by knockout, but if you want to put a $10 bet on something, you can put the plus 850 on this guy. Fuck it.
Yeah, Caleb Plant definitely. You know what? I will say this. I do appreciate Caleb Plant's stance against Ryan Garcia involving his PEDs. He's a clean fighter, and he spoke very vehemently on social media against what Ryan Garcia was doing and trying to get away with. And I appreciate that from Caleb Plant, man. He keeps it real, and the Latino fans seem to appreciate Caleb Plant, because when he was in Los Angeles, at Riyadh, Los Angeles, I think somebody stepped to him, another fighter stepped to him, and the Latino fans jumped that fighter. They're like, oh, hell no, you're not fucking with Caleb Plant. He's one of us. So Caleb Plant, honorary raza. He does drive an Impala too. So that's going to bring us to the co-main event. And speaking of football, the Niners just won, Drew. Did you see all the fights in the stands this weekend? Raiders and Chargers fans, man, do they hate each other? Fuck.
It's a lot. It's a lot to look at and everything. Like I was sitting there watching football all weekend and everything, and you see some of these teams are playing differently now, different styles of play. Like the Chargers, they're no longer a pass first offense. They're more running the football now, because Jim Harbaugh is a running first mentality coach. And Justin Herbert has not thrown that much in that game. So I don't know. It's something to keep a look at and everything. He don't got the weapons that he had last year, so something to look at. Raiders are gonna be the Raiders.
Yeah, and
unfortunately.
shout out to the Las Vegas Raiders and all, everybody that supports them, man. But it's not looking like it's going to be a good season. I thought the quarterback shakeup would help, but Devontae Adams didn't have as big of a game as I expected him to. I think he missed most of the preseason because he had a child, and they got some work to do. Raiders got some work to do.
I think if the Raiders are smart, I think they cut the losses, trade Devontae Adams. You're not. It doesn't look like you're going to contend for a while. So, like, get some picks, build up, get yourself a quarterback in the draft next year. Build up that defense a little more, and maybe like 1 or 2 years, you'd be turned into a nice powerhouse.
All right, guys. You guys all know, you boxing fans that have been watching Canelo for years, you know that I just said his first fight was 2010, and this one here against Arizlandi Lara was one of the closest fights at 154. He had just fought. Who did he had just fought? Another American black fighter that was very close.
Trout.
Austin Trout was a very close fight. Then he gets in this fight with Lara, and boxing fans argued over who really deserved to win that. I remember watching that at a movie theater in San Jose, California, and saying, Lara outboxed him. That was my feeling. Canelo's record up and down. We can look at fights that were very close. Shout out to Chicano Prophet who was in here. He says, war Canelo. We can argue about that fight, and he has on his channel, and I appreciate it. We can still argue about it to this day, but he's the co-main event. He finds himself at 40 years old, the middleweight champion. One of the weakest divisions in the boxing right now, aside from welterweight, or, kind of a sham of itself, of its former glory when Gennady Golovkin was the middleweight king, when Sergio Maravilla Martinez was the middleweight king. Now we have 40-year-old Arizlandi Lara, who spent most of his career at 154 fighting your guy, Danny Garcia out of Philly, who was the 140-pound champ, welterweight champ, 2-division champ. Pretty damn good. I mean, in company with people like Paulie Malignaggi, arguably he had hands, though. Your boy Danny Garcia had hands and knocked out a lot of quality opponents and had some big names on his resume. Now in his late 30s, looking to become the middleweight champion. And Drew, I'm looking at DraftKings right now, and it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty close. It's looking like Arizlandi Lara is a 230-point favorite, negative 230. Danny Garcia plus 180. And I think as we get closer to Friday, this shit might be a toss-up, like negative 200 plus 100 for Danny Garcia. Very close fight. Danny Garcia, does he got the skills to pull this off?
I think he does. I would probably take that plus 180 or 140. I'll probably take that bet, plus 140 for Danny to win this fight and everything. But I don't know about how more, what they both got in the tank left in the tank, but we'll see.
Yeah, which is why a lot of people are, even Oscar himself primarily is the one going $89.99 for this. This fight seems like one of those, you guys remember when the Carlos the Ghost Guerrero was rematching? Who did he rematch? It was Andre Berto. Yeah, it's like watching these guys. It's like the Ghost Guerrero, almost 30, pushing 39, fighting a 38-year-old Berto. That's what this fight is like, and that's the co-main event. It could still be exciting. Remy says he's got Lara. Lara still shows a lot of good movement, but one thing I like about Lara is that he's still a great counterpuncher, and when he does counterpunch, he has been landing big shots. I'm questioning whether or not Danny Garcia, who's always shown a great chin, if his chin is going to be good at 157. I say 157. Important for you guys to know, this is a catchweight fight. They're fighting at 3 pounds below the middleweight limit. Yeah, 3. Carlos M says, I got Lara too. Okay, so we got 2 people for Lara. It's probably because Danny Garcia's been MIA, missing in action for a while.
Now you got to look at it. They've both been inactive, but you got to give the younger guy the advantage. This is Danny Garcia.
Yeah, both champions, man. This is going to be a very, very interesting fight. It is the co-main event. That's as good as this card is going to get, essentially. But we do have a pretty good September and October coming to the sport of boxing. We got football now to keep us entertained. We've got Riyadh season. That's some big fights. So I'm actually kind of enthusiastic about the rest of the boxing season until we get to 2025, man. It's not actually all that bad. We're going to get some really good, interesting fights. It's just that this one's really expensive, man. And what does this fight provide? Well, let's look at the last 3 opponents Canelo has had. They're not bums on paper. On paper, they're not bums. Edgar Berlanga, 22-0. Jaime Munguia was 43-0. And Jermell Charlo was 35-1. Combined record of 101 and 1 draw in his last opponents. I said they're not bums on paper, but nobody thinks that any of these people he fights are on Canelo's level. Are they?
Nope.
Does that still make Canelo the king? I mean, look at him. He's the self-proclaimed king of 168, or he was the undisputed king at 168 until they stripped him.
Yeah, it's just a mismatch.
Let's talk about it. It's a mismatch. Well, listen, man, Berlanga's been making a lot of freaking noise, guys. You guys know it. He's been talking up a storm, trying to basically talk himself into this fight. His odds are... It's negative 1,800 favor for Canelo Alvarez. You're going to have to bet $1,800 to make $100. I don't know. Berlanga's a plus 1,000 straight money line for a win, for a decision, I guess. Seems impossible that he's going to pick up a decision on Mexican Independence State. But this great rivalry that we have, is Berlanga like the Felix Trinidad, and we just don't know it? Because to be honest, I don't see he's the next Trinidad.
Nah, he's not skilled at all. He's going to get knocked out inside 5.
Caleb Plant, who's been in the ring with Canelo Alvarez, says Berlanga does not have the boxing skills, IQ, or chin to beat Canelo Alvarez. I don't disagree with him one bit. But somehow, Berlanga says, it's my time now. He's talking himself in. He's really talking himself into this fight. Drew, he says, it's my time. I'm going to replace him. And it comes at a time where, Mexico, Puerto Rico rivalries are kind of at a weak point. They're not like they used to be, Oscar De La Hoya versus Trinidad, or Fernando Vargas versus Trinidad. This isn't that kind of fight. Team Batman Boxing, shout out to you. He says, let's go, Canelo.
Oh, man. You're mute.
All right, guys. Canelo Alvarez is here in Las Vegas. This is him at Capetillo Gym. And by the way, I got to meet Capetillo at this last fight, the Virgil Ortiz fight a few weeks ago in Capetillo's gym. He had been involved in that melee, Drew. He got assaulted by the 209 crew, I think by Diaz's crew. They assaulted him. But here in Las Vegas, Capetillo Gym, this is the home of, speaking of Fernando Vargas, his son Emiliano Vargas, posing with Canelo Alvarez today. Damn, Emiliano's getting big, dog. How's he getting so big so quick? He's up to 140 pounds. You can see he fights at 140, and they're just about the same height as Canelo Alvarez. What do you guys think about that? Shit, it makes me respect Canelo a little bit more. You see him against Teofimo Lopez last week sparring, and he's a small 168 fighter. He's small.
I look at this man, and he's gonna be big for 140, Vargas. But let's look at this like this. Let's look at this fight. Berlanga is a C- level fighter at best. He really doesn't bring nothing to the table. The Boricuas don't believe he's going to win. Who the fuck believes this kid's going to win? Nobody. They're just going to go and say, hey, let's just get the round. He's getting knocked out in because he's getting stopped. Kid's going to get stopped in 5 rounds. And I think, and I really look at it as in Canelo's trying to rob the boxing fans again. And boxing fans, I hope you're smart enough to not be stupid to buy this fight. And I hope you're smart enough to go on your Fire Sticks or go on Stream East or something and watch the fight of that and tell Canelo, fuck you and everything. It's if you really don't care if you don't speak Spanish, if you don't care about hearing Spanish talking the language, you can watch a Mexican network for free and everything. So at the end of the day, people need to just say, "Hey, fuck you, Canelo. We're not paying $90. We're gonna watch this shit for free, and you're gonna fucking enjoy it."
Well, Drew, I appreciate that you're keeping your eye out for the consumer, because as a consumer of the sport of boxing, it's extremely expensive. Now, I don't want to throw shade on any of our supporters of the channel who are actually going to physically pay for it. Shout out to you for supporting the sport. Is it worth $89.99? Now, that's a conversation I can get into. I don't think it's worth $89.99. I don't think it's worth $860, which was the nosebleeds for me and my wife to go down there. Like, I live in this town because I love the sport of boxing and I want to go as much as possible. But Drew, for me to spend $860 on what is a mismatch, in my opinion, I can't do it. You know, even the $89.99 is hurtful. But I appreciate there's people in the chat here that have just stepped into the room. Mike Tago says Berlanga will KO Canelo. Berlanga has convinced himself, Drew, that he's going to be Canelo. He says, quote, all right, this is what he said. People want a new face, and I'm going to retire him.
I gotta say this, man. Like, really, stop talking. Motherfucker, I can talk anytime I want. This is my fucking show, motherfucker, and you're gonna love it.
No, he might be talking about boxing. Next side might be saying he might be saying for me to stop talking.
I'm gonna fucking talk, and he's gonna fucking love it. He's gonna fucking listen. He's gonna be a good little fucking boy, and he's gonna fucking listen. And he's gonna fucking love me when I talk and everything. And Buck, motherfucker, I have a girl right there standing, and I can have your girl standing there dancing and everything. And I for $1, $2, that's all she's probably worth to it there on the fucking day. But at the end of the day, man, if you're gonna be that fucking stupid and pay $90 fucking dollars, be my fucking guest for your fucking money away, because at the end of the day, I'd rather be a broke motherfucker than a stupid motherfucker. And tell you the truth, I'm far from a broke motherfucker. So I think you need to recognize who the fuck you talking to, first of all, and everything. I understand you want to be loving Canelo and everything, but you need to be realizing that you need to fucking realize you being wild, motherfucker. If you want to be that fucking stupid, go ahead and be that stupid, man. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your fucking money. But when you're fucking $90 less in your bank account, and you could have used that to pay your fucking bills or something, man, or buy you some fucking drinks or some food or something, your family can look at you and say, yo, maybe you should have bought that fucking Canelo fight. You're going to watch it for free, you dumb fuck. Next, let's talk about the next topic, man, because I tell you the truth, I'm not going to waste my time.
We're still on. There is no next topic. It's the main event here. And shout out to Surgeon Fernando. He says, I'm loving the jersey. And guys, in the chat, this is all with love and respect.
Just said, I'm going to pay for Shakur. Are you fucking stupid? Oh, my God. This dude's an idiot.
Nah, Drew. Everybody, listen, we're all entitled to our opinions, and you're bringing up a very strong point and a very strong opinion. Including you share kind of the same mindset as Oscar De La Hoya, who doesn't see the value in this fight. And I have to agree with you on that. I don't see the value. There's very strong opinions. Some people think we shouldn't be encouraging piracy. And that's why Turki Al-Sheikh is going to be doing this $19.99 special. I'm telling you right now, if Canelo Alvarez was fighting for $19.99, this fight, I'd buy it. I'd say, okay, I'll support you, because now you're not really rating the Mexican public, the Mexican American fan base. $89.99 is steep in this economy, with a possible recession looming, with inflation, with food being out of fucking control, with every utility bill being out of control. $89.99 is a lot of money for you to say, I support Canelo Alvarez and I'm going to pay for that. It's just a lot of money. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? There's no value in that. But what I do want to say, Drew, is I'm glad he didn't back down. I'm glad he stood up to Turki Al-Sheikh. I'm glad he stood up to Oscar, Dana White, because truly, you've said it last week. After Canelo leaves, and Berlanga's trying to make this point, Berlanga's trying to say that people are looking for a new face of boxing. If he upsets Canelo, if he knocks him out, holy shit, the world is going to turn upside down. Do we have a new star? Now, I don't think it's possible. But the fact of it is, when Canelo stops fighting, Drew, what's going to happen in Mexican Independence Day? What's going to happen on Cinco de Mayo in the fight capital of the world? Who is going to replace him? I don't think it's going to be Jaime Munguia. I mean, guys in the chat, who could possibly really take over the role of Canelo Alvarez on pay-per-views, on big holiday Mexican? I don't see a future star. This is the conversation we need to have. Is anyone going to be a future star in the sport of American of representing in the U.S.?
I just want to know what the fuck did Shakur come up in this conversation with? Like, seriously, dude.
Well, Shakur it's a big deal. Seriously. Well, like earlier in the show, you guys know that Shakur Stevenson is going to be all of a sudden, they think he's pay-per-view. He's gone over to Turkey Al-Sheikh. And we're going to get, again, if you guys just joined the show, we're going to get this fight for $19.99. We're going to get to watch Anthony Joshua versus Dubois. This is a hell of a fucking card. It's a great card in front of potentially 80,000 fans. Dwarfs 18,000 people in Las Vegas. 80,000 fans. They're doing shit right. They're only going to charge you $19.99. We are going to get Bivol, and better be it, for free on American television, on ESPN for free. My father-in-law can watch this. But we're going to have to pay for Shakur Stevenson. Shakur Stevenson. I wouldn't even pay $9.90. I wouldn't pay a dime to watch Shakur Stevenson. In fact, I wish I could get a refund for Shakur Stevenson versus Oscar Valdez. I went to that fight and it was the fucking biggest snooze fest ever. And I've seen Shakur fight more than once, and I'd like a refund for all of those fights.
You know what? Chicano wanted a fight breakdown for that Canelo fight. I'm gonna give you a quick fight breakdown.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna tell you right now what's gonna happen, Chicano. This is my fight breakdown. He's going to carry him for about 4 to 5 rounds. And then after that, he's going to go to punch and he's going to get countered and he's going to get knocked the fuck out cold. The end. There's your fight breakdown.
A very simple breakdown. Drew, does it
fastest fucking breakdown in fucking fight in fucking YouTube history. There you go.
All right. I did see some people were in here quickly were representing Boricuas, and they think that Berlanga has a good chance. Now, there's always a puncher's chance, but against somebody as defensively minded as Canelo, I don't see it happening. Drew, Jaime Munguia got really comfortable in there. Jaime Munguia got confident. He was throwing some nice combinations. He was getting going. And then he got caught with an uppercut he didn't see in the 4th round. Does Berlanga get caught with something like that sooner?
He gets caught sooner. He's not really near Jaime Munguia's level. This guy is not good. He's a bum. This is like, if you want to compare this fight to something, compare it to Dave Garcia versus Robert Snooker and everything.
Dude, that guy was a
like, come on.
What was he?
That fight to that.
I remember that fight.
That fight is.
That guy was a East Coast fringe club fighter at best, man. I remember that fight. Yeah, I do remember that fight, guys. My breakdown is very simple. Canelo Alvarez promises to knock him out in about 8 rounds. And I think he's going to carry him, but as soon as he gets an opportunity to counter Berlanga, he's going to, and that's when Berlanga is going to flip the script and realize, oh shit, I'm in deep waters now. I'm in real deep waters. Drew, I was going to say here, Canelo says that he is still in his prime, and I want to ask the chat, guys. He's approaching mid-30s. He probably says that he's going to fight a couple more years. He'd like to retire around 35. Now, he is still the king of boxing, the face of boxing at very least. But is he still really prime? And was his hand injury the reason why that Jaime Munguia went as many rounds as he did? He says, I think I'm in my prime right now, and I've showed that in every single fight. I had an injury in my hand 2 years ago and was looking different, but I've showed everybody I'm in my prime. I'm still young.
I think it's gonna be. I think he's retiring sooner than that, because the thing is, this is his last fight on PBC. PBC, I know, cannot afford to buy him the get another contract from Canelo again, and everything. They don't got the money to pay Canelo again, and Canelo's gonna be at a stalemate because the only person that he's gonna have to go to get money is Turkey and everything. So will he fight for him? No, he probably won't. Unless they see, hey, this is the only guy I'm going to make money off of, and that means he's going to have to start fighting. He's going to have to fight somebody, and everything. And that's because what's going to happen? Is he going to make his own cards? He's still going to have to sign with a promoter and everything because Canelo Promotions is only a secondary company. He's going to have to come out of his own pocket to pay fighters for production and everything, to have a network or a pay-per-view platform for his pay-per-view and everything. It's too much money for him to give away and to lose. He's not losing money on here. He's gaining money. PBC is losing money. And so it looks like that he can't go to Eddie Hearn because Eddie Hearn is business partners with Turkey and now. So it's how he's going to give in, go over there, or he's just going to retire. And that's it. And we're going to wind up having this, probably seeing the Benavidez fight. We're probably going to wind up seeing him say, oh, I want the winner of Evo versus Beterbiev.
Right.
But I look at it like this. If Canelo loses one more time, he's going to retire. And I think him fighting the winner of Bevo and Beterbiev, I don't think he beats the winner of that fight.
Well, that fight's, like I said, that fight is taking place October 12th. That's my birthday weekend. And, I know, Drew, you're also a Libra. I'm very excited about that free fight. We're going to finally have an undisputed light heavyweight king. And I'm glad you brought that up about Canelo showing sudden interest in rematching what he thinks is going to be Bivol, but he doesn't care. He says he's going to fight the winner of that fight. He wants that opportunity to go back up to light heavyweight, which is big news because David Benavidez and David Morrell fled 168 because they can't fight Canelo. They're hoping to get a shot. They're hoping to be first in line. They've actually earned it. He's now WBC interim light heavyweight champion, David Benavidez, and David Morrell is the regular WBA champion. Both of those guys have a right to fight for that title. And now Canelo's saying, hold up, I'm the star of boxing. I might go up there. But before we talk further about that, and I see you guys want to hear my fight breakdown, which is pretty much going to mirror Drew's, but on the subject of Canelo being prime, and some of you guys have put your answer, I think the best prime Canelo we ever saw was the third Gennady Golovkin fight, the destruction of BJ Saunders, the destruction of Smith, and then all of a sudden, we start to see a steady decline. Not being able to get rid of John Ryder in Guadalajara, not being able to get out of 154-pound Jermell Charlo. He is on a knockout drought. It's a drought. It's a drought. When they presented him this WBA mandatory and he's like, fuck, thank God. Thank God I got a mandatory that I could fucking knock out. I think he was ecstatic, man. He's looking at that list like, I don't want to fight Benavidez. I don't want to give him that money, whatever the reason. I really don't want to fight a 10-0 Cuban star and David Morrell, or, you know, tough guy and David Morrell. Now, Jaime, what's his name? Jaime Munguia? Yeah, I'll fight him. He's Mexican. It could be a good fight, Cinco de Mayo. Then you got Berlanga, who's Puerto Rican, undefeated, has a lot of knockouts on his record. Okay, fine. He's my mandatory. I could use a knockout. And that's my prediction, guys. Canelo's going to end the knockout drought this Saturday night. He promises it in 8. Berlanga might be crafty enough to last a solid 9, which, you know, is kind of in that Caleb Plant territory. But he ain't making it to the final bell. He just doesn't have. I'm going to agree with Caleb Plant. Shout out to him. He says he doesn't have the IQ to be in there with Canelo. He just doesn't. He's not going to be able to adjust. He doesn't have that experience. He's not going to suddenly magically. I don't care if Memo Heredia, one of the best strength training conditioning coaches in the world, is training him. That ain't going to help you for shit if you don't got the knowledge up here, you know, the knowledge you don't get in college. All right, Drew, what were you going to say?
Nah, like it the way this looks like, man, it's we're gonna see how much of a mismatch this fight is and everything. Like, if this kid can look good against Canelo's on a steady decline and everything. Like, we can look at it like that, but I don't put him on the level of any of those guys. He didn't deserve this fight. He does not beat a Christian Mbili. He doesn't beat a Sergey Dovchenko. Like seriously, if we're gonna look at if anybody other than that, I'd rather see the Christian Mbili fight than Berlanga. But,
Yeah, I think Christian and Billy would give Canelo more problems than Berlanga, and all of those guys need to step up. Like I said, this Wednesday, we're going to see a 168-pound prospect that I've got my eye on. He's from Guatemala, although he's been, most of his career was spent in Mexico, and Lester Martinez. He's the only Latino that I know of that trains with Bomac and Terrence Crawford, and everything he's shown me is that, man, this guy is a force to be reckoned with eventually, and throw him in the mix with Munguia and Billy. And we're starting to have like an idea of Pacheco. We're starting to have an idea that the 168-pound division does have a future without Canelo, to be honest. If he moves up to 175, if he ends his career fighting, what some people in here say, hey, he's going to fight Crawford in a mega fight in May. Maybe he ends his career on something like that, a novelty fight, a fantasy fight. Who knows? Guys, I appreciate everybody that's joined the Shoe Shine. It's late. Drew and I will be talking about our football show that we're going to get started again. Been talking about that a lot. Tailgate Talk. Appreciate all the people who've been asking me about that. It is coming back. We're going to schedule it very soon. So make sure you check our community post tomorrow. I'm going to be live. I'm going to do my best to go live tomorrow from the MGM Grand for the grand arrivals at 2:30 p.m. That's the time that all the fighters are scheduled to come to the front lobby and put on a show. For the grand arrivals, Wednesday, it looks like I will be at the open media workouts as well, live streaming. Thursday, the roundtable with Joe Habib and D-Style. I should be a panelist on that, and we're going to see if we can get a tailgate talk and talk some football Thursday night, Drew. Let me know if Wednesday or Thursday night works for you. Drop it in the chat or in the comments who you guys got. What round do you have Canelo finishing Berlanga? Do you have Berlanga pulling off the upset? Put it in the comments. Drop it in the comment section after the show. Any final words, Drew?
Yeah, gotta look at it like this. Go ahead, spend your money the way you want. You don't be stupid enough and buy this shit. Like, seriously.
It could be worse. It could be worse, Drew. Man, I remember coming to Vegas, spending money to see him fight Money Mayweather. You know, like, wow, did I blow money on Canelo back in the day when I didn't live here? And I used to blow money to see Canelo lose. I even thought El Perro Angulo was gonna beat Canelo. And then finally, I'm like, I guess fucking Canelo really is that good. I guess he is gonna be somebody special.
But they realize this, we're headed into a fucking recession, and these motherfuckers want to spend $90 on watching him fight a fucking nobody. Like, it's like, seriously, man. Like, you guys really want fucking good fights, man. You guys should see this shit. You guys don't, like, if you guys fucking gonna pay $90 for this shit, man, you don't care about fucking boxing. You don't care about good fights. You just want to be on the DICK.
Sheesh.
And I don't give a fuck if anybody likes it or not.
Well, we heard Drew's opinion. $89.99 is too much. Don't be stupid. Don't spend your money on it. But let me know. Go ahead, put it in the chat. Put it in the comment section later when we're done with the show. Let us know if you paid for it or you just watched it. Whatever, man. Let me know. But this is free. Wednesday night, guys. Wednesday night, September 11th. Joe Sean James out of Sacramento versus Lester Martinez. 168-pound matchup. That's free. Also features Vladimir Hernandez from Stockton, California, who's on he's on an impressive win streak as the co-main. And again, it's free. So I'll see you guys all in the Pro Box chat. That's all I got for today. Drew, I'll catch you on the flip side, homie. Peace.